Wagwan peeps, good to have you over here as usual. And big up on yourself. I want to thank you guys always for your support in our content. Remember to like, share, and subscribe.
Yeah, man. Yeah, so we are here. We have to touch on a topic here. We couldn't see this one popping up in the news and we're not touch on it. Sunday morning, there we had.
Yeah.
And couple WhatsApp group, this thing get showing, people are tag me. Couple of friends, couple of associates also sent me this link, the article, right? I got a couple of phone calls as well about it. You get me? I say, so this has been, you know, heavy in the news. It's been making the rounds. So
it's been a heavy talking point in our circles. Not quite sure how big of a talking point it was in your circle. Of course, you can let us know in the comment section, but we're always looking to bring y'all in the loop. Yeah, so we want to bring this to your attention. We want to have a discussion about it, and we want you guys to tell us in the comment section what you think. All right? I think that a lot of the times persons tend to be very one-sided and not very inclusive, or doesn't look on a particular situation in its entirety.
Right.
And it's a big difference between looking at it from one perspective, like out of a shotgun angle, versus opening up the entire room and seeing what's in there.
Right.
So that's what we want to do. We want to open up the room and expose the entire situation.
Because of course, we operate, you know, long-term rental, you know. We operate short-term rental. Plus, I myself used to be a tenant as well. At one point, you know, short period, but I used to be a tenant as well. So I can see things from various lenses.
Used
all
to
right?
it,
yeah, that's a while.
But to be honest, I've never actually done long-term rentals. I've only done short-term rentals. But what are we talking about? We're not even introduced to the topic yet. We are talking about rental scams in Jamaica, more specifically in Portmore of recent.
Yes, yes. So this particular article we're talking about here is where by scammers are targeting persons seeking to rent for long term. So what we understand is happening is that scammers are actually renting Airbnb. That's what they say, right?
So they rent Airbnbs for a period of time, and then while they're there, they swindle the people out of their money, pretending to be
landlords
looking for tenants. So this is a very recent situation. As I mentioned before, it hit the newspapers, and I want Adrian to read it so we can have a good perspective of why we're talking about this.
Okay, so rental scam, right? Published Sunday, March 5. Scammers are reportedly targeting persons hoping to rent homes in the gated Phoenix Park Village housing development. That's where we actually operate our Airbnb business, right? Phoenix Park Village housing development in St. Catherine, swindling over $1 million in the latest case of rental fraud via illicit players in the Airbnb industry.
Yikes.
Via illicit players in the Airbnb industry. Anyway, we continue. Police sleuths in the parish. What, sleuths? What does this mean? Anyway, police sleuths in the parish say at least 3 houses have been used to lure unsuspecting victims via online and in newspaper advertisements in recent months. And that cumulatively roughly $1.6 million have been taken from several victims in rent and deposit fees. Right? In quotations, they asked them, that is the victims, to send all sorts of supporting information, right, such as job letter, TRN, etc., to an email address. And that deposits are to be made to specific accounts before they can collect a key to the homes, right? The problem is, there is no key to be collected, or they turn up to homes already occupied. I seen a cop from the Greater Portmore police station told the Sunday Gleaner last week, right? Lanny Main, president of the Phoenix Park Village Citizens Association, confirmed that he knew of 2 instances of rent fraud in the community since it opened in 2018. One was last year and the most recent was in February. Right? Main said the association has turned over recordings from the 24-hour CCTV surveillance system to police. and that it will be working closely with them to weed out intolerable criminal activities. All right, so a number of things have been highlighted here, right, where they say scammers targeted persons who want to rent.
Yes.
All right, the person, the news, the actual, in the stories that the Gleaner published, they spoke about Airbnb.
Yeah.
But I used to be a part of the Citizens Association in Phoenix Park Village I served for a year. And during my time, I was called in the, a Sunday night though.
One very late night, about 9 o'clock in the night.
Yeah, so
call him.
What happened was somebody got a hold of keys for empty house. This wasn't an Airbnb. It was an empty house just around the street from me, and they were doing the same thing. So they basically advertised and they scammed persons.
Multiple persons.
Right.
Actually.
So that specific evening, the persons that paid their monies over to this person, they came and one big uproar happened. Right?
They were very frustrated at this point because they had paid in excess of $80,000+ and
plus
they have
deposit.
not exactly. And they have not been able to move in.
Right.
And they, at that particular point, had gotten a hold of somebody relating to the property.
Yeah.
And they came and it was one piece of excitement.
Thing. So I was called to try and intervene, but of course I'm no police, I'm not armed. So I asked them to call the police about it. Right? And I said this was an empty house, it wasn't an Airbnb. Basically, I say this to say, generally speaking, scams can happen in various shapes or forms. Right?
And has been happening for a very long time. What we want to cover in this video though, we want to cover what is happening. How are people being scammed? 1, and 2, ways that we think persons can use to prevent this from happening to you.
Yes.
Because a lot of persons are looking to rent, and they're looking to rent in a really nice community like Phoenix Park Village, like other communities around us. And how can you safeguard yourself and persons that you know that are actually trying to rent? So you can use Airbnbs, some Airbnbs, because for ours, you can't do that. Okay, but Airbnbs can be used. Basically, you want a house that can be viewed. An empty house can be viewed. There are cases in which we've heard of persons that are currently renting that are gonna exit the lease. So they're renting now. They know what they're gonna give up the house in say a month, and they empty the house out, and they within that month scam about 4, 5, 6 people with the one house, saying that they're renting it and they must come look on it, collecting people's money within that month.
So basically now we're appealing to the consumer, the person who are actually looking for places to rent. All right. Key thing is, when visiting, if you're gonna walk with a deposit, ensure that on the day that the person will be collecting the deposit, they can provide some proof of ownership. Right? They should be able to show you the bills to the place.
That's very important.
Or at least, remember when you're going to rent somewhere, most often times the light is turned over in your name.
Yes.
Right? You have to know what's going on with the water. Right? These kind of things. So in that instance, where you're gonna have to put the light in your name, the owner, right, have to provide you a letter plus proof of ownership. That's via copy of land title.
To carry to JPS.
So if the person cannot prove to you that they own the place, do not pay them your deposit.
Exactly. You don't have any water bill to show. First of all, you see the light bill, the light has to be paid up to date for it to be transferred into your name. So if you're going to be paying to deposit on first month of rent, the person immediately has to, in reverse, give you the previous light bill, the name that is in, and as Adrian said, proof of ownership, so you can go to JPS and transfer it into your name the same day.
Right.
Or before you let them have your money. Water. People leaving now, the water cannot be transferred into your name, it must be in the owner's name. So in this instance, you have to get the previous water bill to ensure that the water bill reading is at zero, like the cost is at zero.
Right.
Because you don't want them to leave you with $100,000 water bill. You're moving at this place and now your water commission come at the door to come cut off the water because $100,000 there, you would have to pay that.
Right. Guys, as I say, ensure that the person who is trying to rent the place actually own the place.
Or
ask for ID.
as the authority to rent it.
Right. So ask for ID.
Yes.
And as we say, ask for some form of copy title or whatever the case might be. So we are on the topic of scams. So we're not going to limit this thing just to real estate. There are a lot of scams going on. And remember, in this instance, the persons ask for monies to be sent to their account before you even got the keys or whatever. So this is a big red flag, and a lot of other scams going on in other industries in a similar way where you are to send money online without getting goods.
Yeah.
I know of business owners. I'm not even about to talk about the consumers right now. I even know business operators that they sell goods.
Yeah.
And persons would come and say, hey, I want this item. Send it to me and I'll deposit the money in your account. They would lodge a blank check in there, right? When you go on online banking now, you see where money was lodged, but the check not clear. And I think we have discussed this already on our channel.
Yeah, we have.
Again, this comes down to you
doing your
due diligence. So this is not just about real estate. It's overall. There are also online stores that sell electronics, for example, sell iPhone. Like say, for example, the latest iPhone, argument's sake. You know, the going rate is like probably around $1,000 US. You can do the conversion, right? 150,000 Jamaican minimum for the phone. If you see an online store popping up selling the same phone for $80,000, $90,000, you know something wrong.
Yeah,
Don't
that's a good way to you know?
Yeah, do not go sending your money to an online store without you getting the goods. Ensure that the store is legit.
Yeah.
Right? Ensure that the store is legit.
And this is one of the points as well that came out of this particular thing that we're talking about, is that a lot of the time these persons are literally sending money for houses that they've not seen.
Never seen.
Or that they've seen one time.
Online.
And you can't go back there. You don't know when they're going to collect your keys. You don't have any documents in your hand. You have not signed a lease agreement.
Right.
You know, see the person ID. If people ask you for, no, come on. It's a legitimate business you're doing. You're not going to beg them to stay in your house. You're renting. So if you have to provide employment information, pay slip, make a deposit, ID, why can't you give me your ID and your ID should match to you?
Right.
Why can't I have documents to this house?
Right.
What exactly is happening here? A lot of times you people are basically, you know, you kind of know say you fake when you're buying it, you know. Because if you're going and putting money into something like that, you know say something did wrong from the beginning. Come on, we have to use our common sense. You know what I mean?
Another thing, right? So we're going to tackle this thing now from actual like Airbnb players in the space, how we can help as well. We install cameras on our premises and we talk about the importance of having a camera on your Airbnb. In our experience and what we've seen and what we've read, we think that it is a must to have cameras on your Airbnb.
Yes.
Right? Monitor your premises. Look who is coming. When you see movements going on, look what is going on. Also, if possible, I don't know what kind of house rules you want to set. What you can also do is have whoever visitors come into the premises for those to be registered. We've been to Airbnbs before where visitors have to be registered. There will be the hosts do not accept anybody on the premises who is not on the reservation, right? So these things are important.
I know you just spoken about how as Airbnb owners, of course, we can do our due diligence, and of course we do. But at the same time, I can't help but implore persons when doing business to do it safely and do it wisely. I mean, we cannot prevent this from happening, because if people can literally take pictures and post online and you deposit your money to their account.
Right.
I mean, how are we going to prevent that?
The consumers are ultimately responsible for safe transactions.
You have to ask for documents, make your inquiries. You come, you look around. So what is this? What is that? I must say you are going to live there now.
Right.
And you want to make sure the place is safe. If you're going to move in there, say for example, we're moving into a place with our 2 kids, we have to go see how the place stay, how the backyard stay, who live next door, if that look fun. Like you have to go, you can't just simply just pay over money willy-nilly just so without investigating properly and getting proper documentation, because if somebody rent an Airbnb, they have no documentation, none whatsoever.
Right. Thing is, some of the texts that we've received, at no point did anybody mention anything about the consumer's responsibility. Right? Nobody no mentioned this at all. The discussions we've seen on Airbnb, but sometimes, a lot of times, persons, they fear what they don't understand.
In the grand scheme of things, they don't have to use Airbnbs to do it. They can use other houses. Empty houses are ideal.
Right. So I
mean, used and has been used over the years.
Right. So I mean, if they say want to clamp down on Airbnb operations or streamline certain activities, the scammers will move on to other things. There are many other ways out there where they can target customers. So
where they have been.
Right. So again, we're saying the consumers have to bear some responsibility.
Yes.
Right? Ensure that whenever they are conducting business, they're doing it in a safe way.
It has to be with a legitimate person. You're spending your money. No, but when I spend my money, I work hard for my money, you know. When I spend my money, me make sure I look and me make sure I get a good product.
Yeah.
I mean, good product.
If I buy something online, I want to meet the person. If I don't want a store when me sure about, right? I'm not trying to knock online-based businesses, because there are a lot of legitimate online-based businesses out there. But personally speaking,
I do a lot of online
I would much rather I will initiate contact online, but I would want to meet you to exchange the goods for money. Right? We not do that online.
In this instance, I mean, you have to provide all of those information. Agent shows up, an agent is renting the house, an agent has no ID, but he requires your ID. You understand? Let's do our due diligence and let us know in the comment section. I mean, what is the renting world like for you currently? If you are renting, how hard it is to find homes, and what are your experiences? And have you experienced rental fraud?
Oh, you know, you talk about that, you know. Have you experienced rental fraud? I'm glad you asked that question, because I even know about agencies out there. Let us know in the comments if you guys ever had any experience with rental agencies.
Yeah.
You have these people out there, you know, they list places, hey, I have these places for rent, you know, pay up your money so you can get to view them.
Yeah.
A lot of the time when you go back, oh, it's gone, the house gone. So you pay your money for a register.
To pay your money to register. Yeah, it's true.
What they also do too is collude with person who have legitimate places for rent. So for example, I have an empty house. I take a whole heap of people's registration to view.
10 people register to view, where it's only one person alone can register.
Right, so even if the place rent already, you know, you still take people money, register them, you know, and say, hey, this place is for rent, you know. And guess what? All of these scams are posted in the newspapers. Rental agencies in the newspaper, they are there, and they're not being weeded out. They're not being weeded out. So yeah, I mean, the responsibility lies with many persons. There are many facilitators in these scams.
Let's play our part, so that if we are going to go about renting, that we pay our part, we do our due diligence in investigating, and so that we're not being scammed.
To be honest, I never hear of anybody actually getting somewhere to rent through a rental agency.
Oh.
If you don't know in the comment there any success stories, share them in the comments. But I have never heard of anybody who pay their money to a rental agency and get get the place rent. Get the place to rent. We never hear of it.
Well, here you have it. This is our discussion. This is what we thought about it. We thought that it was a very strange situation.
Yeah, man.
And of course, there are ways of preventing this.
Yep.
So put those steps in place and let us know in the comment section what you thought. Have you ever experienced it before? What have you done to prevent it if you have? And what are your general thoughts about renting in Jamaica?
Yep.
Yes. So guys, this is it from the Delcrad family.
Yeah, man. We're out, you know. Peace.